everyone, and friends. I'm so glad you're all here tonight. Bear with me, this is the first time I've done a talk on financial freedom with Theta Healing included. Normally I just stick with Course in Miracles. So one step at a time. Okay, so off we go. Let's get moving. Okay, so this is me. I've been a healer for 10 years. 10 years now, that's a long time. I'm a hypnotherapist, an author, an energy healer, a channel. I'm an advanced theta practitioner, and along with these guys over here. I work from this space, that little back room over there. Inside it there's a giant copper pyramid, a massive crystal chakra light, tons of other things to do pretty much whatever you would like. But yeah, you can find me at Accamesis.com. My email is sky@PandoraStar. PandoraStar is the light machine company that I'm a director for. So I put all the emails to the same place, just so I don't get confused. And even then, sometimes it happens. So yeah, you can contact me on any of these, including my phone number. I'll put the slide back up at the end so you can take a picture if you want to. If not, just remember my name, Facebook and the website, and you'll find me if you need anything. Okay. So tonight I'm going to teach a mix of Theta Healing and A Course in Miracles. So A Course in Miracles is a complete self-study spiritual thought system. It's a mind training, it's a discipline. Every morning you get up, there's 365 meditations, one for every day of the year, that you practice every day. And it starts off with you practicing 5 minutes at the beginning of the hour every day, and then it turns into 15 minutes at the beginning of the hour and 15 minutes, half an hour in, of different thought forms that completely retrain your mind from a thought system based on fear to a thought system based on love. Okay, it's very useful for every single area of your life. It's a 3-volume curriculum consisting of a text, a workbook for students, a manual for teachers. You can find it completely free online. Okay, just go onto the God that is Google, type it in, and you can get access to the complete course, the complete workbook for students. There is no excuse not to do your lessons if you're going to do it. The other modality that I use is Theta Healing. Theta Healing is a technique created by Viana Stibble. It teaches how to use a theta brainwave state to access the different planes of consciousness, download different kinds of beliefs, feelings, emotions, and healings. Basically we do a mix, and you'll see me do it tonight because of the channeling part of the night. I'll spend the first hour talking and the second hour channeling, and you'll see me doing body scanning, readings, past life healing, ancestral stuff. And that's I suppose the way I fell in love with Theta Healing is that it's all in one place. Before I was kind of a spiritual eclectic. I was doing a lot of different things from a lot of different avenues, but I didn't really know how to marry them together in depth, and it was really annoying having to work with a client and do one past life regression and then one soul retrieval, and it was all over the place. With Theta Healing you can do it all in one area, all in one space. It's fast, it's effective. I've seen it work miracles in front of me. So I work with a combination of the two. Now, I don't teach these two because I think they're the only path to love. Okay, I teach these two because they're my paths to love. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah? So if these aren't your paths to love, there's seats up here. You're welcome to pull one closer if you don't want to be on the stage on your own. But I think it might be a good manifestation for you. Okay, so I teach both because they're my paths to love, and they're the ways that I know how to use language lessons the best to answer the questions anybody has. If you're of a different faith, please take what you learned tonight and apply it to your own path. Okay? All roads lead to Rome. Okay, so we're going to be doing things tonight called downloads. Okay? Can you stick up your hand for me if you haven't any idea what the hell Theta Healing is about and that's your first time talking about it? Yeah? Okay, so I'm going to quickly explain this to you guys. For the rest of you, you're just going to have to go through it again. So in Theta Healing, we believe there are 4 levels of belief, and that these beliefs have been put in to lots of different levels of our consciousness. So there's the core level, and these beliefs are the beliefs from 0 to 7 years of age. These are found in the prefrontal cortex of the brain. Okay, everything that you kind of learned while your prefrontal cortex was growing and while your limbic system was growing, if you scan someone's body, you'll see it sitting about here inside their mind. The genetic level, programs carried from our ancestors, generational woundings, famine, plague, war, poverty, are all in your genes. So in your cells, in your bones, in the master cell of the pituitary gland, in the master cell of your heart, in the master cell of your guts, you carry according to Theta healing, 700 years worth of belief systems. Okay, this week when I was flying to Chicago, which is why there was no event last week, I was on a business trip to Chicago. Todd sent me a message because he knows I'm into this stuff. They've scientifically proven that we carry 800 years worth of memories in our DNA. Not 700, 800. Okay, so they can still find the memories imprinted in your DNA. The history level. So this level consists of memories from past lives or the collective unconscious that have been carried into the present and are carried into the auric field. You're going to find archetypes, gods, myths, all sorts of mythologies. You're going to find wars, famines, poverties on that level of consciousness. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah? And the soul level. So this is found inside our heart. If our spirit was broken through torture, slavery, imprisonment, etc., then we can carry our trauma and beliefs on a soul level in between lifetimes. We can also carry gifts. That's how some kids are just born playing the piano or gifted healers, or because they've been through many different incarnations, or they've come straight from, I suppose, that heaven or that seventh plane consciousness, carrying gifts inside their soul. So if you want to know what someone's gifts are, their true life purpose, you're looking at the soul level to kind of scan the Akashic records and see what's going on. Normally, if they've been through a lot, and other lifetimes tend to have been harsher than this one, you'll see it inside their eyes. Their eyes will be dull because the soul and the eyes are kind of together when it comes to being windows to the soul. You'll see it in the eyes, you'll see it in the heart. And they carry a lot of beliefs on this level as well. Beliefs about why they're here, beliefs about whether or not they belong on this planet, beliefs about whether they're from their solar system. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah? Okay, so when we do downloads with Theta, and this is why I'm teaching you all, because the more rapport I build with you, the easier it is for you to let me in and let me out. Okay, so when we do downloads with Theta, we put beliefs on all 4 levels. When we remove beliefs, we remove them on all 4 levels. Is that okay tonight? Would that be all right? Yeah? Because I need your permission to be able to access your auric field without getting a ton of negative karma. If I read out any belief that you don't want, okay, just say no to it. I'm not going to force beliefs on anybody, okay? Every belief that I read out that you would like, say yes to. Every belief that you want removed, say yes to. And if you don't want it, just say no, and Creator knows what it's doing. It's not going to put anything into anybody that's not the right thing. Okay. So financial freedom is a huge topic for me. I think it's at the root of most of the suffering on this planet, okay? There's nothing spiritual about poverty. And that's something that is so deeply still ingrained in our bones that most of us struggle to understand. We've been taught through many religions, and God knows I've had a lot of incarnations in all of them, that poverty is a way to connect with God. Poverty is not a substitute for identification with spirit, okay? The idea behind that is that when you give up all your material gifts, you give up your attachment to matter. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah? It doesn't work because materialism is also connected to emotions, and it's also connected to spiritual status and spiritual superiority. It's still a form of body identification instead of spirit identification. Does that make sense? Yeah? You can have nothing and still be very materialistic because it's a state of being, it's a state of mind, it's a state of heart. And it has to be mastered on all these different levels, and that's what we're talking about tonight. Okay? Poverty is a manifestation of a belief that everything comes from outside of you. Does that make sense? Yeah? Most of us have had many, many lifetimes of believing that, depending on what class you're in, you work, you get paid. Okay? Moving from that system to self-employment, which I know a lot of you in this room are doing, brings up all the beliefs that we've had pretty much until about 300 years ago after the First and Second World War, that our fate was predestined by God, that we had no choice, that our birth and our family defined how much money we were allowed to have, what profession we were allowed to have. And if you come from many other countries, bless you, darling, if you come from many other countries like I do, like Brazil, China, India, it's still very, very prevalent. The UK is the king of class. Okay, so tonight we're going to be talking about class structure, social structure, how the different classes are at war, even inside the DNA, how literally they used to do interbreeding in between the class families to stop you from, does that make sense to everybody? Yeah? And how even when you start to shift the differences between race, the differences between sexuality, the differences between family, you still have these old class systems that make you naturally feel uncomfortable with people that are of a lower class or of a higher class. Does that make sense? Can you see how that may be a pain in the butt when you want to manifest abundance? Yeah, because you're trying to make friends with people that your gut is going, oh my God, these people from a different class are going to kill me. Or you're trying to hang out with people, particularly if you're a healer and you're working with people who are struggling more than you, and you have this subconscious contempt that comes up that's like, why the hell are these people struggling so much? What the hell is wrong with them? That comes from thinking you're either above or below people. Does that resonate? Yeah. We're also going to be talking about responsibility when it comes to finances. So in A Course in Miracles, we're taught that in the absence of love, there will be darkness. Okay? Now, and that there is no such thing as a neutral thought. Most of us, in defense to the mass amounts of fear surrounding money at the moment, go to neutrality. We go to neutral. We're like, I'm going to not care about it. Sound about right? Yeah? In the absence of love, there will be darkness, okay? So in the absence of love, which is our neutrality, because we kind of had neutrality masquerading as love, right? We created a lot of darkness in the financial arena, okay? The only antidote to darkness is light. There is no other way. To end all the hatred, all the power struggles, all the betrayals that have happened around and because of money, we have to bring love into this space powerfully. It is not going to be a small task. Right? It is, however, a necessary one if we plan on having peace and love on this planet any time during the next millennia. Okay? And also peace inside our lives and hearts. I've seen hearts broken by money the same way they are broken by illness, the same way they are broken by relationships. Okay? I'm not going to mess around with you tonight. This is the truth. I've seen men jump off of buildings because they've lost their empires. This is not a small topic. This is not a superficial topic. This is not about greed. Does that make sense? Yeah? This is about learning to love in an area of our lives that we have forgotten how to love. And we've given our power over to many things, to other people, to institutions, to different genders, to different classes. And it's time to kind of bring that power back to us. So why people don't achieve financial freedom? Other than what we just talked about, the first thing is most people don't even realize it's a possibility. It's not a goal. It's not on their to-do list. Stick up your hand if when you were 16, financial freedom was on your to-do list. Right? It wasn't there as an option. This is how deep that belief that we're born and it's our destiny goes. It's not conscious, but we're all subconsciously programmed not to even try to get financial freedom, that it's not even a possibility. Okay? So that's the first thing I would recommend you do. If you have a vision board, if you have a gratitude journal, go home, write a new page, get a nice pretty pen and write financial freedom. Okay? You can't manifest what you don't in your heart desire. Okay, so the first step is to manifest, is to really realize that this is something that you desire, not just as a way of giving yourself freedom, but as a way of setting the world free. I honest to God think that money is the last form of slavery alive. Okay, it's still the last thing that people can use to control you, to pretty much get you to do whatever they want, right? It's a thought system at the moment predominantly based on fear. Okay, so the biggest reason people don't achieve financial freedom, other than the fact that they don't know that they want it, is self-sabotage. Okay, so this is when someone undermines their progress consciously or unconsciously around finances. That's when you really think, oh, I really want to save money, and then you go and spend it on this dress, on this course, on this car, on this house, on this holiday. And you have no sense of long-term gain. Does that make sense? With money, this normally happens because when we start to save, all of our fears, all of our past life junk, all of our collective consciousness junk around being deprived, all the lifetimes where we starved to death, where we struggled to climb the social ladder and we were rejected, all these different situations that brought this feeling of being deprived to us come to the surface, because in the presence of love, everything unlike love will come to the surface to be cleared. Does that make sense? Yeah? So that's what happens. Hence the drinking, the smoking. You have to realize, and in many countries this is still the case, in Brazil it's still the case, in my country it's still the case, that if you don't have enough money in Brazil, the doctor isn't coming. Okay? There's a lot of discrimination against people from different financial classes, and the rivers in this scenario run deep. Okay? So a lot of self-sabotage occurs because we're hiding financial grief and we're hiding financial abuse. It's becoming more normal to talk about things that are taboo, like sex, etc., around the dinner table. Anybody comfortable talking about their finances? Right? That's how taboo it is, and also still how vulnerable it makes us. This is why, even in a family environment, most of us grow up with no financial education, period. Okay? Financial education, along with relationship education, is the most important thing you will learn in this lifetime. Does that make sense? Okay, there is nothing more important than this, because from this will come everything else. Your ability to support other people, your ability to build hospitals, schools, your ability to have doctors, your ability to improve your education. Does that make sense? The reason we tend to avoid financial education, the reason the majority of the planet avoids education, period, is because the last 800 years, unless you were in the top 0% of the planet, you weren't allowed to get an education. And if you were found trying to get one, it would have been seen as an act of treason or an act of insubordination against your class. Does that make sense? Yeah? The legal laws have been lifted in some countries, not in all of them, I hesitate to say, and we're all joined in mind, but they haven't been lifted in our bones and in our blood. So that's partly what we're going to do tonight. The rivers are going to run deep tonight. If you get triggered, I'm sorry. I'm not intending to hurt any of you. I'm not intending to insult anybody. This is what it's designed to do. It's designed to show you where the boo-boos are so you can give them to God. Does that make sense? Yeah, awareness is healing. Awareness brings enlightenment. Through enlightenment, you can heal. Okay? And tonight is not a superficial conversation about financial freedom. It's a very, very deep conversation. So the other reason that we stay in poverty and we stay without financial freedom is secondary gain and lessons. Okay? So because we've been taught through various methods of control, whether it's been religious abuse, financial abuse, emotional abuse, that having lots of money or wanting money and power makes you greedy. Okay? There are lots of social gains to having poverty. One is that you get a lot more attention, you get a lot more time, and you get to feel that you're superior to other people. Does that make sense? Yeah? It's not something I like to talk about, but it's there and it's there. That's why it's there. The other is lack of responsibility. Okay? If you don't have any power, you don't have any accountability, you don't have any responsibility. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah, that means in like 200 years ago, 300 years ago, you're never going to have to stand up to anybody. No one's going to ask you to kill anybody. No one's going to ask you to bribe anybody because you're not financially capable of doing it. Does that make sense? So if you don't have that level of power, you're not going to come into contact with the places where fear still reigns on the planet. Does that make sense? Yeah, and if you do, no one's going to see you as accountable. Let's say we watch a movie together with anybody else watching Versailles at the moment? No? It's talking about King Louis of France when he was building Versailles. And you see how he literally wins a war with Spain, and then he brings back the soldiers, just like happened in the First World War and then the Second World War, and doesn't have a healthcare system, doesn't have a way of taking care of them. Okay? And it starts to cause revolt inside the country. So these souls were able to attack and create revolution without feeling guilty because of their poverty. Does that make sense? Yeah? It was the depth of poverty, the depth of suffering that gave them the leverage to end the class system in France. Right? There is a better way to do it. But like the ways Gandhi did it, like the way Martin Luther King did it, but it can be done through violence, it can be done through deep enough depravity and suffering. Does that make sense? Nobody was looking at the people in France except the aristocrats and going, those bastards. Right? What the hell was wrong with them? Why are they doing what they're doing? It's a way of creating moral absolution. Does that make sense for everybody? Yeah? The other reason is that we learn lessons, and we're learning lessons, and until those lessons are complete, we can't really give up those ways of learning lessons without finding different ones. So common virtues people hope to attain through poverty and through conflicts are generosity, strength, conviction, kindness, self-love, sharing, compassion, and lack of attachment to materialism, as well as service. They used to say all the time, you're in service to king and country, you're in service to the church, okay? So a lot of us don't really know what service means. So would you like Creator's definition of these things, and to align your definition with Creator's, to know you can have these virtues and practice them without carrying the poverty and suffering around with you to remind you?
Yes.
Yeah? Deep breath in and out. And in and out. Okay. So if when we do the downloads tonight, anything doesn't go in, it's because you have one of these. You're either still learning a lesson or you've still got a pattern that it's not safe to step into your financial power. It can be resolved. Any of these 3 girls in the audience will be happy to help you. They do amazing sessions. I warned you if you came, I'd pimp you out. They're really, really brilliant. We've been working for was it almost 2 weeks straight every day together. They've completely changed my life for the better. You're also welcome, of course, to book in a session with me or with Anna Kitney, who's my teacher. So if you need something fast and miraculous, go and see her. Okay, so I'm going to move forward. Okay, so most people never use this language, but it is important language to use. Financial abuse and the trauma of poverty. Being poor is not fun, okay? It's not even a little bit fun. Not knowing if you're going to have food on the table, not knowing if you can afford medicine, not knowing if your children are going to starve to death. Not being able to say yes or no to people offering you things isn't fun, okay? Healers are here to master the universe. They're here to go through every single experience possible so they can achieve spiritual mastery. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah? In that experience, we've been through a lot of lifetimes, a lot of bodies, a lot of financial and emotional experience in different forms. Most of us have lifetimes where we've been very, very rich and powerful, and we've been very, very poor. Sounds right to everybody? Yeah? Does that feel true? The issue with this is that we tend to remember the suffering of poverty more than we tend to remember what we did that was good with our power, okay? So healers often resist setting healthy boundaries with their finances. Stick up your hand if you have a problem setting healthy boundaries with your finances. Yeah? Most healers do. We're either giving too much or giving nothing, okay? It's a yo-yo between the two, okay? It's a really strange, I think it's like, to me, it reminds me most of when I work with clients that have food addiction. It's like a swing in the pendulum between binging and purging. There's not enough and then there's too much. There's not enough and there's too much. And there's no healthy medium. There's just a lot of struggle because of how much financial abuse and trauma that's come down the line, okay? So this resisting setting healthy boundaries with finances is a major block to manifestation, okay? We associate having money with status, corruption, and power, and we associate it with class systems and the belief systems connected to those class systems. Does that make sense? Yeah? I often find the underlying issue is they've experienced suffering and pain connected to poverty. They don't want another person to experience the same suffering and pain, so they resist setting healthy financial boundaries and feel guilty when they do. Okay, when boundaries are not a way of harming somebody, they're a way of loving somebody. Okay, so often in our culture, and this is going into the Course in Miracles, we have fear masquerading as love. We have hatred masquerading as love. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, I'll use chocolate cake as an example. Let's say you're like my friend, and she has diabetes. Okay, and all she wants to do is eat the chocolate cake. Okay, in that moment, she's thinking that chocolate cake is going to make me feel good. That chocolate cake is going to give me what I need to feel better. Okay, but that chocolate cake is actually going to do the opposite of that. That chocolate cake, if she didn't have an injection of insulin, could kill her. Does that make sense? Financially, that's how the ego works. So the ego goes, oh, don't worry about money. There's no point thinking about it. You don't have to plan for it. You don't have to become astute with it. You don't have to know what you're doing with it. You're not greedy enough to really think about this. And then when you don't have enough money either to pay the bills or to help yourself when you're ill or to buy your own home, then it's sitting there going, you idiot, right? Why didn't you invest the time and the money in this? Does that make sense? Yeah? So it sets you up and then it kicks you when you're down. That's what the ego is a master at doing. The bit where it's kicking you when you're down is not your guidance. Okay, a lot of people mistake that for God's guidance or God punishing them. That is not God, that is not Creator. God does not do that because that is not how you learn. In A Course in Miracles, it says that to teach is to demonstrate. That means that if I demonstrate anger and punishment to you, I am teaching anger and punishment. Does that make sense? Yeah? God does not demonstrate anger and punishment because God does not teach anger and punishment. God teaches mercy, responsibility, and grace. Okay? Beating yourself down into shame does not resolve financial problems. It will not pay your debts. It will not teach you financial responsibility. It will not give you this courage and the strength that you're going to need to become the man or the woman you're capable of being on this planet. Does that make sense? Yeah? So that's not your divine guidance speaking. The Creator's voice, your angel's voice, the voice of the Holy Spirit that's inside you is still and it's quiet. And this is why meditation is so important. Because normally the ego speaks first and the ego speaks loudest. So you have to quiet your intellect and turn within for at least 20 minutes every day and connect with that still small voice inside. Okay? So if you've had a similar experience around financial abuse and financial trauma, would you like Creator to teach your energy that it's over, to complete the lessons, to release the trauma of being controlled, rejected, misunderstood and financially abused?
Yes.
Can I release the psychic attack of being judged because of your class?
Yes.
Can Creator teach you the difference between the truth and other people's opinions of your class and social status?
Yes.
Would you like to know that what those people said to you or did to you because of your class or social status was just their beliefs and their opinions? It had nothing to do with Creator's truth.
Yes.
And that it had nothing to do with Creator, even if it was done in His name.
Yes.
Thank you. It's done. It's done. Show me. Okay. Our soul often had positive intentions behind setting up these experiences. Okay. Would you like Creator's definition of all the different virtues of generosity, strength, conviction, abundance, self-love, sharing and compassion without having to carry the pain and financial abuse with you or to recreate financial abuse in your life to remind you of these lessons?
Yes.
Can I release the belief that this financial abuse and trauma is still going on, and can we teach your DNA in your body that it's over now?
Yes.
And can we complete the lessons that you were learning from it?
Yes.
Okay, Creator, heal it and show me. Okay, that's good. I'm aware it's getting kind of energetically heavy in here. That's because I'm giving you all time to kind of bring it all to the surface, and then I'm just going to zap you, so don't worry about it. It's intentional. Okay, financial freedom. Okay, so some of us were fortunate enough to start out in families that instilled integrity, prudence, hard work, and finances as a theme, okay? If that's your experience, you can be grateful. If not, then it's still within your power to cultivate these qualities now. Not only will that create conditions for your own financial success, but it will benefit everyone around you as well. Throughout this, you will need patience. Stick up in your room if patience is your forte. Stick up your hand for me.
Oh, yeah.
Who's good with patience?
No, I'm the opposite.
Okay, so in A Course in Miracles, there's a line that says, infinite patience gives immediate results.
Wow.
Okay, the two things that the Course in Miracles teaches are the prerequisite to miracles, period, whether it's health, whether it's finances, is readiness and patience. Okay, so would you guys like Creator's definition, perspective and understanding of readiness and patience?
Yes.
In all of its aspects?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm just going to explain something quickly. So, patience does not mean sitting around doing nothing and allowing people to take advantage of you. Okay, so can Creator teach you the difference between patience and abuse?
Yes.
Yeah? Or patience and low standards?
Yes.
Can Creator teach you that impatience is just another form of resistance?
Yes.
And how to recognize it as so?
Yes.
Okay, can Creator release the anger that you're holding towards yourself and the impatience you're holding towards yourself for not having achieved financial freedom yet?
Yes.
Can we send unconditional love to you and forgiveness to you?
Yes.
Thank you. It's done. It's done. Show me. Can we release you from the belief that punishing yourself is how you're going to learn financial freedom?
Yes.
Can Creator teach you how to live without financially punishing yourself?
Yes.
Can we return all soul fragments that you've given away to financial trauma or to difficult financial situations?
Yes.
And return all of the power that you've given to your money?
Yes.
And can Creator teach you that you are sovereign over your money and how to make money work for you, that it's possible, that you know how to and when to,
Yes.
and that you can? Can I release the belief that it's easier said than done?
Yes.
That it's going to be difficult, hard, take a long time, and be boring. Okay, for those of you that have lifetimes where you were in the upper classes, can I release the belief that it's beneath you to pay attention to your personal finances?
Yes.
And can Creator teach you that those lifetimes are over and that you're in this lifetime now?
Yes.
And that in this lifetime it's for your highest and best good to pay close attention to your personal finances?
Yes.
Okay, can Creator teach you how to look at your financial mistakes with mercy, with compassion, and with patience?
Yes.
And that it's possible to deal and remedy your financial difficulties with ease and with grace?
Yes.
And can Creator open your mind and your chakras and your energies to allowing that to happen for you?
Yes.
Can Creator remind you that Creator is the healer, including of your finances, and you were the witness?
Yes.
Can I release this energy of frenzied doing and trying to make it happen financially?
Yes.
And can I teach you how to witness Creator healing and resolving your finances in the highest and best way?
Yes.
There we go. Can I release the ancestral belief that it's your job to resolve your family's financial problems?
Yes.
Can I release the belief that it's your job to keep your family's finances secret?
Yes.
Can Creator teach you how to approach the right experts, the appropriate people who can help you in the highest and best way to reorganize your finances?
Yes.
And that you can still ask for help whilst being discreet?
Yes.
And I release the belief that if you ask for help, you're going to be manipulated?
Yes.
Okay, can I release any vows and promises to king and country, to church, to family, and to lovers, to stay in poverty?
Yes.
Thank you, it's done, show me. Can I release the shame from all of the different lifetimes in which you found yourself in deep poverty or in deep debt?
Yes.
Can Creator show you that when it comes to debt, Creator is the healer and you are the witness?
Yes.
Can Creator teach you that what financial miracles are, that they're possible, that you know how to accept them and create them?
Yes.
Can Creator send unconditional love to your finances and to your debts now?
Yes.
Thank you, it's done, show me. Can Creator bring your power back from your debts?
Yes.
And all the ways in which your heart has been broken by debt?
Yes.
Can I release the shock and trauma of being put in debtor's prison for those of you that that's relevant to?
Yes.
Okay. Another deep breath, guys. Let it go, you don't need it. One more time. Oh, I'm almost lightheaded. You guys kind of shifted a lot very quickly. Right, well done. Bright and shiny. Right, okay. Typically, personal and financial decisions that pay off in the long run require sacrificing a little today. Okay, that doesn't mean sacrificing in the traditional sense. Okay, it doesn't mean you have to give up something real. It means you will become disillusioned. Okay, disillusionment has an energy of depression around it, doesn't it? Yeah, but in truth, disillusionment is a gift because it was only an illusion to begin with. Okay, it's like the day my friend with diabetes realized that eating cake wasn't going to help her. Right? It's the same day that we realize that spending inappropriately, not saving, not investing, not creating any streams of passive income, not trusting anybody isn't going to serve us. Does that make sense? Yeah? It's the day, much to my chagrin, that I realized that buying 4 dresses would not make my bank account higher. Right? It's those moments where you kind of realize that short-term gain does not bring long-term results. Does that make sense? Yeah, it's not easy because it feels like deprivation. It feels like deprivation because the ego is pissed off, right? For those of you who do theta healing, have you worked with the law of illusion before? Yeah? If you haven't, it's very, very powerful energy to work on around money, around diet, around finances. Okay? Because particularly around money, for most people in order to be able to survive, particularly if you think of someone like the King of France, for example, can you imagine how much trouble he would be in if anybody saw him as financially in danger? Okay? This is why no one was ever allowed to see any king as financially in danger, as weak, and why there was deep, very strong commitments in the family not to talk about it, not to discuss it. It was a matter of state. It was the deepest confidentiality. Does that make sense? Yeah? So when it comes to seeing through illusions, the law of illusion is very, very, very handy. Now, you will not be allowed to use the law of illusion unless you have mastered compassion. Okay? Because if I can see into you, I'm going to see everywhere you're fucking up. Okay? And if when I see that, I'm going to judge you, use it to abuse you or harm you, can you see how that's not in the universe's highest good? Right? This is why you have to master virtues to acquire different spiritual gifts or spiritual powers. Because when you have enough integrity, when you have enough compassion, when you have enough grace, you can go anywhere because you have the universe's trust that you will not abuse the spiritual gifts you have been given. Does that make sense? Yeah? There are people that do abuse the spiritual gifts they have been given. I'm not going to lie. It's not a good thing to do. Okay? I'm not going to say the word karma, but you don't want to see that come back around. Okay? And if you see the amount of spiritual abuse that's in the world, you see how much it has come back around in negative ways. Does that make sense? Yeah? So it's very, very important to have spiritual integrity. You can work with the law of illusion. Would you guys like to try that now?
Yeah.
Yeah? So close your eyes for me.
You want me to play with that?
So we're going to work with the law of truth and with the law of illusion. Believe it or not, they walk down the street hand in hand. So just close your eyes, and I'm going to connect you up to 6th plane because that's where all the laws of the universe live. And it's a green sticky type substance, kind of like the membrane of a cell. And it's got these amazing numbers, sacred geometric shapes and colors. So I'm going to make a command, and if you'd like this to happen for you, then just say yes, okay? Creator of all that is, it is commanded that everybody in this room who gives their permission be able to talk to and experience and work with the law of truth and the law of illusion now. Thank you. It's done. It's done. Show me.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, now I want you to imagine that there are 2 columns in front of you of the different laws. Do not put these laws inside your body. I can see a few channels doing it already. I'm moving it out. They're quite harsh energies to hold in the human form. Okay? They're very powerful, but they're not for the human body. They work within the human body in very small amounts. Okay? Same way that some medicines can help or hurt, it's the same thing with the laws. They're very, very powerful energies. So just keep them in front of you, don't put them directly inside your body. And when you're ready, I want you to imagine your life, and I want you to ask the law of illusion inside your mind to lift all of the illusions that you've been telling yourself gently in the highest and best way for you to see right now the biggest illusions in your life around finances. Breathe. And can creator download you that it's safe to see the truth?
Yes.
And remove any beliefs that the truth is harsh.
Yes.
And then asking the law of truth to work with your life in the highest and best way to bring you financial freedom and abundance. And see it pouring down into the whole of your life and gently healing all the hurt, because the truth heals. And the truth will set you free. Okay, and just allowing the law of illusion to show you the illusions you have around short-term discomfort. And then allowing the law of truth to show you the truth about making the best decisions for your finances right now in the highest and best way. Can Creator give you his perspective, definition, understanding of discipline?
Yes. Yes.
Or as I call it, blisscipline. And how financial discipline will give you the freedom that you're craving.
Yes.
Can I end all your contracts to use the law of illusion to harm yourself or to learn lessons in ways that aren't for your highest and best good?
Yes.
And can Creator teach you how to work with the law of illusion for your highest and best good in ways that have integrity and honor?
Yes.
Can Creator teach you the difference between the law of illusion and lies?
Yes.
Can Creator teach you that this whole reality is an illusion in all of its beauty and in all of its craziness? And then when you're ready, just coming back down to your body, wiggling your fingers and your toes and just letting me fill you up with earth energy, just grounding you a bit. I'm going to release the laws back up to the universe as well. Just thank the laws for working with you too. There we go. Okay. So, achieving financial freedom isn't rocket science. It basically means you have to earn more than you spend, you have to create enough savings that you can learn how to invest, and you have to shift from being somebody who is buying products to somebody who is making products. Now that can be services, it can be workshops, it can be like with us with the light machines or with the gongs, it can be art. It doesn't matter what it is. Does that make sense? It's a shift in mind. A miracle, according to A Course in Miracles, is a shift in perspective from one of fear to one of love. Okay? Financially speaking, a shift in perspective to being the owner and the creator of something to being the person who receives something is a very big shift. It's a shift from spiritual childhood and adolescence to spiritual adulthood. Does that make sense? Yeah? Because if you really want change in your heart, you have to have change in your mind, you have to have change in your body. Otherwise, you're going to be trying to force yourself to do things. Does that make sense? Yeah? Discipline is not force. Let me say that again. Discipline is not force. Okay? Because so many people use the word discipline as a way of saying something before they punish somebody. I'm going to discipline you when you're a child, or disciplining in the army, right? It got convoluted. The word discipline has its root in the word disciple. It means to follow, right? To follow the light, to follow the love. It means to be in service to that, okay? So discipline is basically the daily practice. It's the opposite of force. This is why in A Course in Miracles, there's one tiny meditation to do every day. In the beginning, that drove me crazy. Right? I'm not a patient person. Having to do one tiny sentence a day when I thought I can just do 10 or 15 a day was way pain in the butt. Right? But I was still on a spiritual level, a subconscious level, into forcing myself into doing things. When you're still forcing yourself into doing things, which was the first year I was doing A Course in Miracles, you have a lot of resistance, a lot of internal battle going on between the part of you that wants to do it and the part of you that doesn't want to do it. Does that make sense? If you do it gently, if you allow it to be like a drip, drip, drip of consciousness, of enlightenment, it happens so slowly, it happens so easily that it's ridiculous. It's easy, it flows, it's natural, because you're not doing it, you're allowing Creator to do it. Does that make sense? When I was frantically grasping at my Course in Miracles, thinking I have to do 15 lessons a day, that was not letting Creator do the healing. Does that make sense? Yeah? That's my fear that the healing won't happen, that the miracles won't come, that I have to do something extra to earn Creator's love. Does that make sense? Yeah? It's really a mental discipline to develop that you don't do anything. Creator does stuff. Creator will tell you what to do, who to speak to, what business to start, where to go. But Creator won't do it in the sense that you'll do it. It creates this energy of stuckness because it's a fear that nothing's going to happen. Does that make sense? It masquerades as devotion. It masquerades as spiritual mastery, but really it's a fear that you are not enough, that you have to give everything, do everything to achieve a tiny portion of freedom. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah? So when it comes to financial freedom, saving, investing, creating your own products, services, businesses, developing a passive and steady multiple streams of income are the way to go. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah? Anthony Robbins wrote an amazing book called Money Mastering the Game. It's a very, very good book. It's a mammoth of a book. Okay, so you will get a very advanced financial education from reading that from cover to cover. I read it from cover to cover in about 7 days, and then I read it again. I literally, every time I'm stuck, I go back to that book. It's a very, very, it's like our, there's a book when it comes to physically healing that's called, is it Metaphysical Anatomy? It's like the metaphysical anatomy of finances. Okay, if you want to heal financial rubbish, read that book, learn that book. Okay, it's called Money Mastering the Game. He takes you into all the different ways of sorting it. It's a big book. Most people don't make it through the second chapter. But it really, because it's financially advanced. He actually says to you, don't do it unless you're doing the exercises in the book, okay? Which means he will literally make you sort out your finances, create savings, all that within the first chapter. Does that make sense? Yeah? So don't read it without doing the exercises. The poor man wrote it down like 500 times, right? Most people read the book and then don't do anything with it. Unapplied knowledge is worthless. Okay, you have to be able to take action. Okay, so can I give you Creator's perspective, definition, understanding of saving money and make your definition the same as Creator's?
Yes.
Can I give you Creator's perspective, definition, understanding of investing and make that the same as Creator's?
Yes.
Can I give you Creator's definition, understanding of how to create a product and make that the same as Creator's?
Yes.
Can I give you Creator's perspective, definition, understanding of creating a passive income?
Yes.
Thank you. It's done. It's done. Show me. Okay. So the other very important thing that's a principle of Course in Miracles that you need to understand around money is that we live in a culture that's kind of, well, we're really, really kind of soaked with the not so good kind of illusion. Okay? And the same way that if you go to a therapist, the therapist will say, for a relationship counseling, therapists say, what needs are you not getting met? Is this person really giving you what you need? Instead of asking you, what are you not giving in this situation? Okay? Financially, this is the environment that we're growing up in. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay? In A Course in Miracles, what it teaches is that nothing can be lacking in a situation unless you are not giving it. Okay? Most of us really struggle with greed. It's not a superficial concept. It's not something we like to admit to, but it's there. It's quiet. It's subtle. Okay? If you think you struggle with it, try paying somebody. Okay? Anybody struggle to pay their bills? Yeah? Get pissed off, angry, resentful?
Some of them, not all.
Yeah. See? That feeling is a sign of how much greed we still carry. Even if somebody has fairly done the work, most of us still resent paying them for it. If you are paying somebody with resentment, law of attraction wise, how do you think your money is going to come to you? Yeah? It's one of the biggest shifts in consciousness because the universe loves to help people who help others. Okay? To have a company, for example, to have employees that you pay and that you financially honor, letting them put a roof on their head, a food on their table, to take care of their children, to take care of their wives, that creates a lot of very good energy. Does that make sense? Yeah? You're asking the universe to trust you with the responsibility of the lives of others when you're asking it to trust you with responsibility, with a lot of money. Now, this is why people who normally win the lottery end up losing it less than a couple of years later, right? And this is what I was talking about with the law of illusion and short-term gain. Most of us think, yay, I'll win the lottery, right? When that happens and you haven't developed the spiritual and emotional musculature to be able to maintain and manage that kind of money, you normally destroy it. Does that make sense? Yeah? Being able to be here tonight to release these beliefs, to make changes to your consciousness is way more of a gift than winning the lottery. Because it means that when that money comes to you, and come to you it will, right? Because all of us have infinite opportunities in our lifetime. The moment our heart is open to them, they start coming in, right? They'll come to you it will. You will be ready for it, and readiness is the prerequisite of miracles. If you were to win the lottery and you've taken the time and the effort to build the spiritual and emotional musculature to be able to hold and be responsible for that kind of money, you're going to make a massive difference in the world. Does that make sense? It's a shift in perspective. If you have given all your power to money and you think that money is creator and you think that money is in charge of you, then when it comes into your life, you're going to be dominated by it. Okay? Not only that, you will not be able to honor the people closest to you with it. You'll probably go into paranoia. You're going to start thinking people only want to be around you because of your money. Does that make sense? It triggers things, it creates things, okay? Because it's old, unresolved rubbish. So when you actually understand that you have great value, that no one can give you that value or take it away from you, that is called financial detachment. Does that make sense? Yeah? It's difficult because it goes against everything that we're taught and everything that we walk down the street or watch commercial adverts on TV daily. Okay? But it is the truth. Your value does not come from finances. It never did, it never will. This is particularly hard for men, okay? Because men are the 3 Ps: passion, providing, presence. And providing in this world comes from money. Does that make sense? Okay? But it's not true. Your ability to provide is way deeper than financial providing. I grew up in a household where financially everything was well provided for us. Emotionally, spiritually, physically, those things were not provided. Does that make sense? Yeah? There's a lot of ways for a man to provide that are different than money. And that enables them to weather the financial storms that occasionally come into everybody's life and actually succeed in them. If a financial storm hits and you think that that money is your purpose, it's the reason for you being alive on this planet, it's what makes you a man, you're not going to come back from that. Does that make sense? So your chances of recovering or making more money are minimal if you have that identity conflict. Does that resonate with everybody? Yeah? So taking the time to make that shift from money as the source of your power to money as something that works for you, to money as something that takes care of you, to money as another law that you can use inside the universe is the biggest decision you will ever make in your life and one of the most important ones. Okay? Money represents energy, and energy is what we need to be able to live. Okay? Bum, bum, bum. Okay, so class and social status. This is not a conversation I've enjoyed having, but we're going here, okay? Historically, social class and opportunity was sometimes so deep that it was laid down by both law and by blood. Religion and money were included as well, okay? So, for example, you weren't permitted to dress in a particular way if you were of one class or another. Think about servants versus masters and mistresses. You weren't permitted to practice different religions. Okay, there was a point where all the rich people were Catholics and all the poor people were Protestants. There was a point where if you were a pagan and you were a different religion, they killed you. Okay? But this is all to do with class, right? Many countries around the world, it's still strictly regulated. Britain is still one of those places. But a person's social status and economic position are the main things that make up your class. Social status was not just made up by your job or by your earning capacity like it is nowadays. It was made up by your blood, by the family that you came from. Does that make sense? Yeah? So it wasn't something that you could just hide. It still comes up now. If you think of what happened in Nazi Germany with the Jews and people looking at their lineage and looking at their blood before deciding to kill them, If you think about what happened in Haiti about 10 years ago with the same kind of genocide scenario, and if you think about what's still happening with the Native Americans and the African Americans in America, this is to do with class. Does that make sense? Yeah, it's a war of the classes. It's a class supremacy. You can heal the issues around race and gender and homosexuality till you're blue in the face. Class came first. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah, class is the pecking order. It's the way that we decide who's more important than who has the power, who has the decisions. Do you think you're going to have trouble reclaiming your power if you still have beliefs about class you haven't cleared? Yeah. If you're just, does everyone here know how to muscle test? I'll just quickly do a demonstration for people that haven't done it before, because we'll quickly muscle test. So just put your index finger and your thumb together quite tight. Pop your finger through the middle. Okay, and if you push this finger up and it's a yes to the question that's asked, it'll stay closed. If it's a no, it will go through. Okay, so it's a yes, 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 and then no, no, no. Okay, so quick exercise. Say out loud, I am working class. Yeah. Then say out loud, I'm middle class. Yeah. And then say out loud, I am upper class.
I'm upper class. Not even.
Yeah?
All of them, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So if you had one, okay, that means it's been in your family lineage for a long time. If you had two, that means probably your parents came from different classes. If you had three, you're like me and your family's cosmopolitan. Everybody mixed everything together. Yeah, there are people from all the different ranges, and there have been people screwing each other all up and down classes. It's true, it happens. So you can have all three beliefs. Now, can you imagine how much conflict your DNA is in if you have all three classes in it? Yeah?
Makes sense.
So would it be all right if we ask Creator to resolve the conflict in class within your DNA?
Yes.
And can we end the battles between class happening in your DNA?
Yes.
Thank you, it's done, show me. And can we unplug you from the collective class consciousness?
Yes.
And can I give you Creator's perspective, definition, understanding of class?
Yes.
And of equality?
Yes.
And how to experience people of different classes as equals and with love in the highest and best way?
Yes.
This is not a small one. Big things are going to happen. Okay, deep breath in and out. Can I release the belief that all of your power comes from being of a particular class or station?
Yes.
Can I release the belief that you need this class or station in order to have good things in your life?
Yes.
Can I release the belief that you need to have other people underneath you in order to feel good about yourselves?
Yes.
And can I release the belief that you need to have other people above you taking care of things in order to feel safe?
Yes.
And can Creator give you the highest perspective and truth about class in this situation?
Yes.
Thank you. It's done. Show me. Can I release all shock and trauma from the Second World War and the First World War around class and station?
Yes.
And can I release the shock and trauma of being financially abused by other classes?
Yes.
And can we send forgiveness to all of the classes?
Yes.
There we go. Can I release the belief that you have to hide your class or station in order to survive?
Yes.
Can I release any beliefs about clothing, profession, finances, contacts, social gathering and events that may have come from classism?
Yes.
And can Creator teach you the truth about you being allowed to wear what you want and socialize where you want and go where you want?
Yes.
Can I release the belief that celebrities are the upper class?
Yes.
And can I bring back to you any power that you've given to celebrities?
Yes.
Can I bring back any power that you've given to politicians?
Yes.
There we go. Can I bring back to you any power that you've given to corporations?
Yes.
Can I release the shock and trauma of financial abuse by corporations, politicians, and the upper class?
Yes.
Can I release the shock and trauma of financial abuse by the lower classes, any lifetimes in which you were drained dry by the beliefs or wages of others?
Yes.
Any guilt that you're still carrying on any level about not being able to pay the wages of others in a fair way?
Yes.
And can Creator teach you that those lifetimes are over
Yes.
and complete the lessons?
Yes.
Can I release the belief that if you're friends with people from a lower class, that you might lose your family, your status, your position, your opportunities in life?
Yes.
And can we complete that, please?
Yes.
There you go. You guys are clearing up nicely. Okay. So this comes up quite a bit also when you're dealing with kids like me who are dyslexic or dysgraphic. So a person's socioeconomic class has wide-ranging effects, okay? It may determine the schools they're able to attend, the jobs that are open to them, who they're allowed to marry, and their treatment by the police and the courts, okay? So your beliefs about social class, which we just changed, would determine all of that. Does that make sense? Yeah, so you've just changed your relationship to all of those things. Okay? A person's social class has a significant impact on their educational opportunities. Not only are the upper class parents able to send their children to exclusive schools, but many state-supported schools for children of the upper class are much higher quality than those for lower classes. We've already talked about medical care, nutrition, life expectancy. Also, race, gender, and other large-scale groups can also influence class standing. Okay. So can Creator teach you all how to see gender, race, sexuality, and age free from class?
Yes.
Can I release the belief that your financial status is God's will and it's your destiny to be either rich or poor and it's determined by God?
Yes.
Can I release any beliefs on a DNA level that you're only allowed to be attracted to people of the same status and class?
Yes.
Any programs that you have to hide or be ashamed of introducing people of different cultures and classes to family members?
Yes.
Can Creator heal the beliefs that aren't in your highest and best good about high or low classes, which vary from society to society?
Yes.
So I want you to just imagine for me all of your different lifetimes as a tree, okay? And every leaf on the tree is a different lifetime of yours. And I want you to allow Creator to send unconditional love to every single leaf on that tree and to the roots of that tree. There we go. And then send love to yourself as a baby in the womb and allow Creator to heal any beliefs about class that were given to you in the womb. And also any beliefs about class that were given to you at your death. So I want you to imagine there are lots of doors in front of you, and these represent your death doors from different lifetimes. And I want you to allow Creator of all that is to send unconditional love to all of these death doors and to heal any negative beliefs that you still carry about class. Can I release any beliefs that you're a social climber?
Yes.
It's when someone's born into a family, for example, with a lot of money, but they want to be part of the aristocracy, and then they marry into the blood to be able to get equality through that. Yeah, it's when you're trying to move up the classes. Can Creator teach you the difference between structure and class?
Yes.
And that it's possible to organize people with different levels of power without organizing them into classes?
Yes.
Okay, can I remove the belief that your destiny lies in the hands of influential people?
Yes.
And can Creator give you the download that you are influential people?
Yes.
Okay, when you're ready, just opening your eyes for me. Okay. Okay, so often when you have clients that find it difficult to accept help or difficult to heal, a muscle test around class. Okay, it comes up, it's fast and it's furious. And yeah, for those of you who went to the toilet, I gave you the downloads anyway. So you didn't get out of it by running away. Okay. So objectively, a class shares a common relationship to... Objectively, a class shares a common relationship to the means of production, subjectivity, and the members will necessarily have the same perspective of class consciousness, a similarity and common interest. So class consciousness is not simply an awareness of one's own class's interest, but it's also a set of shared views regarding how society should be organized legally, culturally, socially, and politically. Okay? These class relations are reproduced through time, handed down from generation to generation. Okay? This is why sometimes parents will sabotage their children becoming successful. Why sometimes even if, for example, let's say when you had the Labour Party versus the Conservative Party, that's a war of class. Okay? It's the working class versus the upper classes. Does that make sense? Yeah? And it's why they keep going from one to the other, because they're still not in alignment with one another. They're still constantly yo-yoing backwards and forwards, which is kind of what's happening to us as a collective culture, because now so much of the DNA has been mixed. So many people have blood from both the higher classes and the lower classes that we're internally at war between the two, and it's being mirrored in our political system. Does that make sense? Yeah, we go from this, tell me if I'm wrong, entitlement to this complete workaholic, crazy busyness mentality, right? It's a pendulum between the two because it's in our DNA, the war, which we kind of just completed tonight. Does that make sense? That's what's being reflected politically, is that we're not sure who we are, because who we are used to be decided by family, used to be decided by class, used to be decided by society and by culture, and now it's changing from an external identification to an internal identification. Does that resonate with everybody? Yeah? So can I give you Creator's definition, perspective, and understanding of who you are without needing your class, your family, or a bloodline, or a political affiliation to remind you?
Yes.
There you go. It's a lot easier. Okay, so each class individually had their own rules, laws. Some were spoken, others were not, okay? Many of these rules and laws were conflicting and keep us tied to a level of consciousness that our family was in socially, status-wise, class-wise, okay? It served us at one point to abide by these rules and regulations. Legally, we had no choice, okay? For many generations, observing these rules was not an option. In past lives and in ancestral energies, they often saved our lives. It wasn't just about not wanting to mingle with someone of a lower class. If you were in an upper class and you were found sleeping with, a maid or with a gardener, that person was likely to disappear. Okay? So harm would come to the person that you were in relationship with as well. Does that make sense? Think of Romeo and Juliet, the Capulets and the Montagues, right? Divisions of class and family are a big deal. Okay? So for a long time, there's still a lot of ancestral trauma around class. So would you like a healing on an ancestral level around class? Can we release the shock and trauma from your ancestral line, both paternal and maternal?
Yes.
Okay, deep breath in and out. Creator, heal it and show me. Keep breathing, guys. Can I release any vows and oaths never to trust people from an upper class or a lower class?
Yes.
And the trauma of being betrayed by someone of a different class?
Yes.
Can we release the false anchors, the belief that it was their class or their breeding that made them betray us?
Yes.
And can Creator show you the highest truth?
Yes.
There we go. Can Creator teach you that you no longer need to abide by these rules and regulations of class?
Yes.
To know how to step safely out of these rules and feel that it's possible to know how to do so with grace and ease?
Yes.
Would you like Creator to unplug you from class consciousness and show you Creator's truth about your value and worth?
Yes.
Would you like to know you can still be loved and accepted without being defined by class?
Yes.
Would you like to know how you can create a new financial environment for yourself, to know how to, what it feels like to know how to, and that it's possible to without relying on class?
Yes.
Would you like to heal any damage caused to you by being part of a class with these belief systems and rules?
Yes.
Can Creator release any collective karma that you're carrying on a historical level of wars, illnesses, poverty, or injustice carried out by your class?
Yes.
Or the different classes in your blood?
Yes.
Thank you. It's done. It's done. Show me. Okay. Okay. More downloads. Okay, so I'm going to read these out I'm just going to read them out as a list. At the end, just say yes if you like these, okay? I understand the Creator's definition of developing my financial abilities and talents. I know what it feels like and how to use these in the highest and best way. I know how to live my daily life using my financial freedoms and abilities to the fullest. I know Creator's perspective on using my financial abilities to the fullest. I know how to make and honour good financial decisions. I know the Creator's perspective on my financial abilities. I know it's possible to release the full potential of my financial abilities. I understand Creator's definition of absorbing life force, absorbing information, what information to absorb, how to absorb and retain information about finances in the highest and best way. I understand Creator's definition, understanding and perspective on financial opportunities, how to recognize financial opportunities, how to act on these in the highest and best way, how to receive opportunities and take advantage of opportunities. I know the Creator's definition of passive income, investing and saving, and my definition is the same as Creator's. Would you like these?
Yes.
Thank you. It's done. It's done. Show me. Okay. So Creator's showing me that I have to talk to you guys a little bit about the division between church and state, because you guys at this side of the room are still blocking some of these downloads because there's beliefs around church and being close to God through poverty. So for a long time, oh God, I think almost 500 years, the church was at war with the state. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah, the church was in charge or the state was in charge, because it used to be king and church, and then it became politics and church, and then it became politics and no king and no church. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah? So that the church could coexist with the state, they decided to divide the power, divide church and state. Does that make sense? Yeah? On a spiritual level, that meant that the church stopped taking taxes and it started receiving donations. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah? When the church stopped taking as much taxes as it used to take, and it stopped being in charge of the state, and it decided to collaborate with the state, it had to convince the people who were coming to it to give their money over to the state. Does that make sense? So that it could survive, it started preaching poverty. Does that make sense? Okay, so as a way of controlling the church, the state had to get it to give its financial power to the state. Period. End of story. Right? We still have issues between church and state right now when the church starts to make a lot of money. Okay, it's why the state is proactively invested in destroying religion and portraying religion so badly. Because other than politics, the church is the next force in power. The church was the one who ordained the kings. Okay, to become a king in a country, you'd have to go to the church or to the mosque or to the Torah temple, and literally they would put the sacred oils on your head, and they would anoint you. Does that make sense? Yeah. So the power to the king was not given by the state; it was given by the church. Okay. So there's a belief in a lot of people that this poverty brings them closer to God. What poverty did was keep the state in power. Does that make sense? Yeah? It also, when the church was in power, kept you at the mercy of the church. Okay? Because if you don't have financial freedom, then the church has to take care of you. If the church has to take care of you, then you have to do what the church says. Does that make sense? Okay. So can I release the shock and trauma of seeing the truth about some types of financial abuse? Yes. And can Creator teach you how to love religions and the church while still seeing it for what it's actually doing?
Yes.
Can I release any hatred that you're holding towards the church or towards the state?
Yes.
There we go. And can I give you guys on a spiritual level these downloads again? Would that be okay?
Yes.
Now they went in. That's good. Okay. So when you're studying conspiracy theories, one of the things that they say is that if in doubt, follow the money. Okay? Because this is why we're healing so much stuff around financial freedom today. Money is energy, but it also shows where the power is going. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah? When it shows where the power is going, you have a chance to make a decision based on discernment for the highest good. There are many amazing things about all the different churches on this planet and about all the religions on this planet. Okay? Many amazing things. There are many amazing things about our political system. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah? It's immature to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Okay? If you think about the developmental stages of a child, there's a stage where a child reaches adolescence and it kind of throws out everything its parents ever taught it, right, to find out who it is. And then there's a stage around 18, 19 where that child starts to bring back what it learned from its parents and incorporate what it learned from itself and put the two together. It's in spirituality, we're kind of in spiritual adolescence. We're at the stage where we keep throwing everything we've ever learned from all the different religions out, but we haven't become mature enough to take the good things that we learned and combine them with the new things that we've learned. Does that make sense? Yeah? The Catholic Church has done some horrific things. It's also built schools, built hospitals, smuggled many different war immigrants out of different countries, healed the collective consciousness of the planet. Does that make sense? It has done some terrible things. It has done some miracles. Nothing is black and white. The world is a rainbow. Does that make sense? Yeah? And when you're in power, like any religion is, you can see what they're trying to do to the Muslim faith right now. Right? It's got nothing to do with what the Quran teaches. It's got nothing to do with the Muslim faith, and everything to do with the fact that the only two countries really left on the planet that are standing up to the richest families on the planet are of those faiths. Does that make sense? Yeah? But it's not, the law of illusion covers that up. Does that make sense to everybody? So you can't see it. If you want to watch the law of news in operation in a not good way, go and watch the news. Right? If you want to see it in a good way, go and watch something like Schindler's List. Okay? It's not, everything can be used for good or for ill. Okay? There are many times the law of illusion in many lifetimes has saved my life. Right? Because I wasn't able to be seen. Or I managed to pass underneath the radar. There are many times where it's led to people's deaths because I misused it. Okay? So it's just being aware that every single law has two sides to it. And just be gentle with how you use it with yourself. Okay? But yeah, with church, religion, and state in particular, just be aware that there are very, very, very powerful systems, powerful families that have the majority of the money on the planet. And that they're still controlling the media, they're still controlling the finances. Does that make sense? Yeah? So when you want to bypass the law of illusion, look at the finances, look at where they're going, look at why they're going there. Because as a healer, when you want to heal a situation, the more accurate your ability to tune in, the faster you are to getting to the real problem, the more that energy goes to good use fast. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah? Okay. So, because of these class systems around finances, we have these beliefs about what we're capable of doing. Okay? So, would you like to separate your parents' or society's projections of who you are and what you're financially capable of from Creator's truth?
Yes.
Would you like Creator's truth of what you're actually financially capable of achieving?
Yes.
Would you like to know you can live without viewing yourself and others through the lens of poverty and class?
Yes.
Would you like Creator's truth on the parts of you that you see as unacceptable, and of others that you see as unacceptable?
Yes.
And of classes that you see as unacceptable?
Yes.
Would you like to know how to love and accept all financial parts of yourself, to know it's possible, to know what it feels like, to know that it's safe?
Yes.
Can we release you from all class prejudice?
Yes.
And can we give you Creator's truth and perspective?
Yes.
Thank you. It's done. Show me. Okay, for the women in the room, can I remove the belief that you have to exchange your sexuality for a class and status?
Yes. Yes.
For those of you that have got upper class in your blood, can we remove the belief that you can't fall in love, that you can't choose your partners, that you have to marry as a way of honouring your family?
Yes.
Can you release any vows that you've made to be permanently single so that you can keep your family's money safe?
Yes.
And can we complete those lifetimes and teach you that it's over?
Yes.
For those of you who have lower classes or middle classes, can I release the belief that marrying someone of a higher class could mean that you're going to be rejected by their whole family or cause them to be rejected by their family?
Yes.
And can Creator teach you that you're allowed to have romantic relationships with anyone from any class?
Yes.
Can Creator teach you that you're allowed to get an education from anyone from any class?
Yes.
Can I release the belief on any level that you don't deserve medical treatment because of your class?
Yes.
And can Creator show you His medical truth?
Yes.
For those of you with beliefs about lower class, can I release the belief that your only purpose here is to serve God or king and country?
Yes.
For those of you from upper classes, can I release the belief that your only job is to serve the king, God and state?
Yes.
And can Creator give you his highest perspective and truth on your purpose?
Yes.
Thank you. It's done. It's done. Show me. Okay. Guys, you're doing great. Okay. So this is the end of the downloading bit of the night. I'm going to start the channeling bit of the night. These are the next talks for the next couple of weeks. So next week I'm doing a talk on manifestation. So I'm going to go into working with fifth plane and sixth plane energies and the laws to manifest things quickly. The week after that, Tuesday the 13th, is the laws of the universe. So I'm going to go through the laws, how to work with them in depth. And then there'll be talks. I'm literally putting up all the talks this week. So from now until August, they'll all be up. We're away in Portugal for an astral projection retreat from the 28th to the, oh, I've washed off my hands. I think it's the, Todd?
Yeah.
When do we come back from Portugal?
Pardon?
When do we come back from Portugal?
The 3rd.
The 3rd, okay. So from the 28th to the 3rd, we're going to be teaching astral projection in Portugal. It's also on the meetup. You guys are welcome to have a look. And then we'll be back and I'll be doing the Tuesday night talks here. We're moving to a different spa in August, okay? So I'm not sure if I'm going to rent the room upstairs or if you guys are all going to come to a new spa. But I will keep you guys updated. It's still going to be in central London or it's going to be right here. But the Tuesday nights aren't going to stop just because we're moving to a bigger space. Is that okay with everybody? Yeah, so we're going to be here every Tuesday doing something similar to this or more advanced than this. Okay, so I'm just going to give you guys a quick toilet break and then we'll come back and we'll start the channeling, okay?
Yeah.